better visual acuity in the patient, the big bubble Anwar's technique of big bubble DALK is very, very preferred. So then we have the femto assisted DALK. For those who have an access to femto, a femto assisted DALK is much more safer. So coming to the big bubble DALK, we have the type 1 bubble, type 2 bubble, as well as a type 3 bubble. Now type 1 bubble is a bubble where it separates the Duas layer at the Duas layer. So because of which it is very thick. It is a very well formed bubble of around 6 to 7 mm, and this is the layer separation between the Duas layer and the posterior cornea. So now this Duas layer was, after the introduction, is when they found out that this is much better than going for a type 2 bubble, and type 2 bubble basically separates the Duas layer from the Descemet's membrane. Now Descemet's membrane is very thin. As we know, when we are doing a cataract surgery, we can definitely make out the integrity of the Descemet's membrane. So the chances of rupture in case of this is very, very much higher. Now sometimes you may get a double bubble which has a Duas layer separation as well as the Descemet membrane separation. This is also okay. So this is a proper video where it is showing procedure of layer by layer DALK. So exactly this is the reason why it is safer, because once the anterior 300 micron is removed, then slowly the stromal fibers are separated to an extent where we see a shiny glassy cornea. So because of which, for the initial beginners, you don't lose your confidence, because most of the cases get converted to PKP while doing a big bubble. So this is a confidence booster for the beginners. So slowly, layer by layer, the corneal stroma is removed until we go to the thinnest part and we get a shiny smooth cornea. Because the posterior cornea is always much more smoother compared to the anterior cornea. But this requires a lot of patience. It might take at least 1 hour to really pick each of the fibers and then separate it. So patience is a very important factor when it comes to manual dissection, because smoother the fibers, the better optical clarity in these patients. Now this is the big bubble technique. When we beyond a particular limit, when we reach, we'll have to inject an air bubble, and if we are going, we have to identify what type of a bubble is created. This is the type 1 bubble which is created, because of which the Duas layer is very, very strong. So it is easy to separate the fibers. So once we achieve this big bubble, we need to make a 4-quadrant dissection and the superior cornea is removed. It's very important not to use the Vanna scissors, and we need to use the DALK scissors which are blunt tipped, so make sure that there is no perforation. So in either of the cases, when the procedure is done, we take the donor cornea, remove the epithelium, remove the endothelium, and then suture it. Yes. Some of the complications following DALK are, firstly, double anterior chamber. So if at all there is a microperforation somewhere in the procedure, there are high chances of getting a double anterior chamber. In such conditions, post-op, we need to put an air bubble into the anterior chamber and make sure that the AC is deepened so that the interface fluid is removed. Second is a Uret-Zavelia syndrome. So this is common for DALK or in PKP, where when there is a high pressure during the surgery, this can cause an iris pupillary rough arrest, because of which there will be a mid-dilate pupil with the loss of iris rough. So interface wrinkling. So if there is a graft to host discrepancy or the interface is not cleared properly, there are areas of stromal unevenness. That is when we can see interface wrinkling. And interface haze is when we do not do it in the right patient. Patients who have interface vascularization, patients who have issues with scarring, severe scarring, that is when there could be an interface haze. So selecting the right patient for deep anterior lamellar keratoplasty is a key point compared to penetrating keratoplasty. So with this, I come to the end of keratoplasty. So I would like to move into the next topic, that is the path-breaking technology of CARES. So this is something which has come as an alternative between contact lenses and keratoplasty. Those patients in whom contact lens is not comfortable, patients who are very young to undergo a keratoplasty, this is where CARES come into the picture. So the technology or the principle behind CARES is nothing new. With the advent of intracorneal ring segments since the 2000 onwards, this is the same technique which is used in case of corneal allogenic ring segments. The only difference is that ICRS is a PMMA lens. So because of which there are serious complications long term when the lenses are being placed inside, such as segment migration, intrusion or extrusion, overriding. But the most dreaded complication is vascularization. So following intacs, in case there is a corneal vascularization, this acts as a hindrance for future consideration of DALK because of interface issues. So CARES is corneal allogenic intrascleral ring segments, which is mainly the allogenic segments. The periphery of the cornea is utilized, removing the endothelium and the epithelium. So it is exclusive stroma that is being introduced. So Jacob et al., that is Susan Jacob from Dr. Agarwal's eye hospital, she is the one who started this procedure of experimenting by installing the peripheral thickness of rim of cornea into the donor host cornea. So it acts beneficial, it is reversible. In case it is not accessible, a patient is not comfortable with the refractive error following this procedure, it can be removed and it is reversible. Additionally, it can be super added with collagen cross-linking, or sometimes even PRK is what is suggested, but as Vinay sir said, refractive surgeries in such cases are very dicey. So it can be added on with C3R for those in whom C3R has never been done. So the indications for CARES is keratoconus. Other than that, we have pellucid marginal degeneration, post-LASIK ectasia, or post-ICRS melts, where the ICRS is removed and into the same tunnel we consider putting the CARES ring. So complete absolute contraindication are autoimmune diseases, collagen vascularization and immunodeficiency diseases, where obviously we cannot do anything over the cornea. And local contraindications are intense central scarring, where definitely there will be no alteration or flattening noted, or prior herpetic diseases. Now, it is based on the Barakak's principle, where anything that is added into the periphery or anything that is removed from the center will cause flattening of the center and steepening of the periphery. Now, patients with vision of 624, 636, wherein they are not comfortable with contact lens, or the day-to-day changing of contact lens becomes difficult for them, in such cases when we do CARES, that is when we install the corneal segment in the periphery of the cornea, this causes significant corneal fattening. This is not a refractive surgery, but it makes them either contact lens compatible, or it brings down their higher order aberrations, makes their quality of vision better. So they do not have to suffer from poor quality vision. Because as I said, keratoconus is very much seen in young patients, and these are patients who have an active life, driving, watch computers. So it's very important to make sure that they get a good refractive outcome. So it acts as a spacer effect. So the central 7 to 7.5 optic zone is taken for the donor cornea area, wherein the procedure is done. So these are some of the instruments which are patented and specifically by Dr. Susan Jacob ma'am. So they are available by the Epsilon. So there are customized template plates, as well as the radial markers and the Sinskey hook. So this is a very, very important trephine. So this is not your regular trephine which is used in case of keratoplasty. Now this trephine is specifically designed in such a way that only the peripheral rim of Bowman's membrane up to the pre-endothelium level is obtained for the help of CARES. So as you can see in this procedure, this particular image, so this is exactly how we get the tissue, where we have the Bowman's membrane on the top and the pre-endothelial part on the bottom side. So once we mark this area, that is how exactly we get in the picture E, where you can see, which is then sliced open, and you get a long stretch of tissue which has Bowman's membrane on one part and only stroma on the other part. So once this is achieved, it is placed on the customizer, and already priorly marked topography is placed over there, so that we find out what are the segments that is need to be put, at what clock hours it has to be put, and what design has to be done for this. And the procedure of installing is same. Either you can use a femtosecond or you can use manual. The ring size is almost similar to what is being used for Intacs. So it has to be done at the depth of for 80% depth, where we do this tunnel. So once this is done, the corneal segment is actually slided into this portion according to the thickness of the cornea, according to the asymmetry of the cornea, and thus giving the results. So this is a video of the same. So once we remove the epithelium as well as the endothelium is removed, the trephine is used to create the ring. So it is very important to mark, because if this marking is not done, we are going to get confused which is the Bowman's part and which is the stromal part. So this entire segment is flattened and stretched, where we know one part is thick and one part is flat. And once we do this, it is placed over the marker, and exact clock hours where these segments have to be placed is marked. And then the remaining tissue is discarded. So femtosecond is used to create the tunnels for this condition. And you can put asymmetric segments, you can put bilateral, superior and inferior, or you can put only inferior depending on the amount of